Hey, Pat, good talking to you again. I guess I should start out by asking, are you going through senior day ceremonies and have you made a decision, beyond this year?
Yes, I am participating in senior day, and this will be my last home game here.
Okay, that's what I figured. I just wanted to ask. Uh, uh, Looking back at your career, what's it like here, being at your last home game, and how? What are your emotions like going into this one?
Man, I wish I would have listened to older guys whenever they told me it goes by fast because it seems like I just got here, even though that's so cliche to say, but it seems like I just got here. But that's probably because I've just had so much fun here. You know, during my 4 years, I've grown so much, so many good times, good memories. So the time goes by. Time flies when you're having fun. You know what I mean? I guess you could say. So it's just been an incredible experience, an incredible journey. I feel like I've grown a lot as a man. Of course, I came in with no hair. I have hair, some facial hair. But I've just grown a lot as a man, kind of under the great leadership of this program, from Josie all the way down to our coaches. It's like the emotions are high, and I'm very glad that we get to do a true senior day this year with our families on the field, and them just getting to share that moment with us, and them being on the field like at a game day, they kind of see like what their children get to experience. My mom will get to see what it's like being on the field in front of all the fans. So just me being able to have that moment with my loved ones, my brother, my mom, my grandparents, it's special. I just can't say enough about it.
What are maybe one or two of your favorite moments, whether it's on the field, off the field, or combination?
Um, Off the field, I'd probably say, this summer, whenever we went to Tulsa, we went and visited the Greenwood district. That was like one of my more favorite moments because I think it just shows like the leadership of our program. Coach Riley taking the initiative to, take us down there. And then us just being around the whole team getting to do something, not worry about football, just us get to chill with each other, kind of just those moments together. And then on the field, I'd probably say Baylor whenever we won in 2019, that comeback.
And just a quick follow up to the first thing you said there. What was that trip to the Greenwood District like? What did that mean to you as a guy from Tulsa? And did you, what you learn from that, or what do you feel like your teammates learned from it?
I think just collectively, all of us got like a better understanding of the history and like the appreciation of the prosperity that was there, and kind of like the capability of people of color, specifically African Americans, seeing like a prosperous community like that. I think it gives you a great vision of possibility and what's attainable. And then me being a guy from Tulsa, I think I kind of use this like a motivation and feel of what's capable for myself and my community in the future.
Hey, I really appreciate it, Pat. Great talking to you. Have a good one.
You too.
Jason Kersey.
Yeah, Pat, wanted to ask you about missed tackles. I think you guys are averaging around 11 missed tackles a game. Going up against a running back like Brees Hall, is that something that you focused on this week?
Definitely. I think Brees is no question a top back in the country, top three, top five. So just playing a great player like that, and then really just within the game of football, you can't afford to miss tackles like that. But it's definitely been a point of emphasis for us going into the week, and then specifically in the safety room for me and Trouble, because we're guys who have played the most snaps in the defense. So there's a higher level of play that's expected out of us. So um, just a challenge for us this week in practice. We got to go back, attack it, fix things, and come back out Saturday like we always do and perform.
Uh, Pat, I also wanted to ask you. I know the team captains have been involved in focusing on the Julius Jones case, and that decision is going to have to be made here in the next day or so by the governor. I just wonder if you had any thoughts on that you wanted to share.
I think it's just a difficult situation. Definitely a situation outside of our control. But I think the biggest thing I've been just focusing on is, praying for justice. And I think God is always in control. And whatever comes to pass is His will. So that's just been the thing that I've been focusing on, praying that whatever happens is supposed to happen because it's God's will. That's really, all we can focus on. Obviously, there's like a lot of emotions with it and like a lot of different viewpoints on it. But I just been, leaving it to God and praying and taking it from that approach.
Thanks a lot, Pat.
Jenny Carlson.
Hey, Pat, I have two very different questions for you. I wanted to start by asking you about Charlie Kolar, another Oklahoma Preps product like you. Did you cross paths with him at all in high school? And what's the challenge of going against him?
Yeah, we played against each other, I believe 3 years, 3 out of my 4 years in high school. So we've been playing each other for like I think 7 years now. So yeah, he's a heck of a player, and I think I respect him more so, for the man he is. He's also up for like the Campbell, and he's a finalist, mechanical engineering, nearly perfect GPA, and just to do that as a student athlete, knowing how difficult that is, just makes me respect him that much more. And I think he's an incredibly, intelligent individual. And then, just the way he conducts himself, me and him have kind of spoken a couple times and definitely exchanged our respect and admiration for each other. And I think it's just big, seeing guys like that come out of Oklahoma, because I think it's the right inspiration for, our youth, because you have a guy who's doing everything right and really embodying what it means to be a student, dash athlete. And I think he embodies both, and he's a great representative for Oklahoma. And I'm glad he's getting the recognition he has, through his on the field play as well as off the field.
You mentioned the Campbell, which you're up for, which makes me think that, I mean, I know obviously you're coming to this senior day, so still more football to play this year and maybe beyond this year at some level for you. But I know because of your academic exploits, you probably thought about the post football. So what does that look like? Have you started to explore life after football at all?
Definitely. I think I definitely plan on doing more school. I don't know what that looks like or when that'll be or the timeline on that, but I definitely want to attend, like one of the more prestigious academic institutions in the country, specifically like Harvard or Stanford or UPenn. So that's been on one of my big to-do lists. And then I think career-wise after football, I want to go into like strategy consultant. And I think that's a great trajectory to one, either be an entrepreneur or start my own company or even run a Fortune 500. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about, anticipating so far. And that's, I think, where my head is at this moment.
Cool. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you.
James Hill.
Pat, I'm pulling for you with all those awards. If anybody deserves it, you do, man. And it's been fun to cover you. And it was interesting when you said this would be your last home game. You've talked about before trying to guard the tight end sets and everything that Iowa State has done. I'm sure they're doing the same thing. All those guys came back for their senior years. So talk about the difficulty of matching up against Iowa State and trying to challenge and get after those tight ends.
Yeah, I think Coach Grinch told us last year in the Big 12 Championship, I think they ran 25 different formations against us, and they had like 60 or so either motions or shifts. So I think just from an intellect standpoint, you have to be very keyed in and locked in on the different trades and motions and how your rules apply to the different sets. And then from there, it's just going to be a heck of a battle. Because like I said, Charlie is one of the best tight ends in the country, as we've seen with him being nominated as like a Mackey finalist last year. And then that's him just alone in the pass game. And then whenever you factor in the run game and Breece Hall and who he is and his accomplishments, it's like a phenomenal team. And I don't think their record is very reflective of how great they are as a team. But I think we're expecting nothing less than a battle. And, we know what we're getting into. But I think at the end of the day, for me particularly, that's what I want to go out as my last home game. I want to be, kind of like the best battle we can, the most gladiator fight we can. And I think that will come on Saturday.
Man, and hope it happens for you. Good luck, man.
Appreciate you.
John Hoover.
Hey, Pat, hope you're doing well. I wanted to ask about those tight ends as well. I wanted to ask specifically about the game last year and the way it unfolded. It looked like at times they were trying to leverage you guys, being 6'6", 6'6", 6'7", and then Xavier Hutchinson 6'3". Do you find being a safety is 5'10", 5'11", that teams try to go at you specifically? I remember Buki was having a couple of issues in that game as well.
I don't think so necessarily. I think they're very consistent in what they do as a team. And I think being that they are so big, that mismatch is going to be against every team, and that's what they that's what they kind of know and create their offense on. I don't think it's nothing specific to us. But I think for us, we kind of just have to like dumb it down. At the end of the day, it's the receiver. They're throwing him the ball, whether he's 4'11" or 6'11. You know what I mean? We got to guard him, and that's kind of like sometimes what you have to do in a game of football is kind of just dumb things down to like the core and what they are. Because if not, then it gets very easy to try to change your technique or things based on mismatches and things like that, which is kind of like playing a tricky game. So I think we just kind of like dumb things down for us and ourselves and make things as simple as possible. That way we don't have to make any thoughts or different communications, things like that. We can just lock into what we've been doing all year.
When the guy's physically that much bigger than you, can you kind of describe what goes into that? What you're talking about dumbing down? Is it your technique and things like that?
Yeah, I think the thing that I appreciate the most about Coach Grinch's defense is that everything is like consistent in terms of the same way we play man technique now is the same way we have in January. And I think we kind of like pride ourselves on that because we've been working the same technique, for an entire year now. So even though it's like a different matchup, it's the same technique in terms of how we move our feet and things like that. And we can just pride ourselves on like us having that many cumulative reps against things. So I think, and that's what, kind of like how we can key in and play so fast and not have to worry about communications and things like that.
Pat, last one for you. I asked Alex.
John, we got to keep it moving. Let's go to Ryan Avery for the last one for Pat.
Hey, Pat, you played a lot of games here. Just want to ask, have you noticed a difference in the way that road crowds have treated y'all this year versus, your first couple of years here?
I want to say I think it's been pretty consistent. But I definitely think this year, being that, we've had the record, it's a little bit bigger. I think teams kind of view us as, well, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I think it's been pretty consistent. And I think every single game, a lot of the fans, they come with everything they have, like their teams, and, it's just a gritty game and things like that. But I think that's what we expect, and that's kind of like what we want.
And I know obviously you're not listening to everything that's being said and things like that. You're focused on the game, but have you heard any different taunts this year with the SEC stuff and things like that? I mean, we heard the chant on Saturday, but anything else?
In all honesty, I'm pretty like oblivious of the world. I don't have a Twitter. I don't have an Instagram. I don't have any social media. I'm kind of just like a hermit. I show up to football. I go to the library for majority of the day. So I'm pretty oblivious of everything that go, even like I don't even really watch TV. You know what I'm saying? So
Well,
like,
I was talking about during the games.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm really kind of like oblivious too, because I'm just keyed into the game and you kind of just get used to like tuning out the noise and whatnot.